So I was asked if I could explain my contracts for wholesaling and give a breakdown. And I told the woman, I think it was a woman, I said I would upload a video today explaining what they are, go over how you fill them out and whatnot. So here we are. I'm going to show you where to find them at on my website. They're all free, the actual contracts I physically use, and kind of give you a rundown of what they're for, how to fill them out and whatnot. So this video may get a little long. I hope you watch it all and subscribe, follow, like, share, all that good stuff, because I'm trying to grow the YouTube channel. So let's see if I can help you out and go from there, and I hope you enjoy. So what you're going to do is go to my website, thepaulmccomas.com. As you can see, here's all my promos, trials, and whatnot for different softwares, Propstream, Deal Machine. Next level data, if you want cash buyers list, I get them from there. You got the House Folios Deal Analyzer, Paul's Deal Analyzer, that dummy proofs the repair cost estimates and the ARVs. That's the best text blasting service. You got Propelio, or Blackbook is owned by Damon Remy, I believe is his name. It's just a CRM website to funnel pages. You can text, email blast. They have driving for dollars as well, profit dialer. They do everything in there. I use it for some stuff, not everything, because I like the other services instead. So, but there you goes, all that. But if you click down here, there's your free investor title company and attorney list across the whole country. They've worked, they're wholesaler friendly. And then down here, that's where you get the free contract scripts, postcards, and letters. It's ones I actually use myself. So that's what I'm going to show you how to fill out today. So once you click on it, it's going to bring you to this. Click on seller contracts. First one we'll go over with is the seller purchase agreement. I've already done a video of this, but we'll run through it to kind of give you an idea. So up here, this is going to be the date of today, seller, number, as you see it says, and/or signs. Street address, city, legal description. You go to the tax assessor site for that county. You look up the property. They have legal descriptions on there. It just tells you the lot number with some specific whatever. But they all say legal description, parcel number, whatever you can find, you put here. You put the county, existing loans, liens. If they know they have a loan or a lien and kind of have an idea of what the amount is, you put it on here. If they don't, just put 0. You put the price you guys agree upon right here. And then that's it on that. Scroll down here, earnest money. As you can see, it's to be placed in escrow prior to closing of escrow. And the amount. Usually to me, it's $10, $100, whatever. As you can see, as how it's worded, I don't have to place it immediately. So whatever amount you put here, when you get a cash buyer, their non-refundable EMD is going to cover whatever amount you put here. So that's nothing to stress about. Even if you have to go up to 500 or 1,000, you have until the close of escrow. So if that's what you absolutely have to put, your buyer's going to cover that when you get your non-refundable from assignment of contract. So closing date, usually it's 30 days. You pick 30 days from advance from today's date. Here's where you put the title company, closing attorney, the one you found that you're going to use. You put their name here. As I stated before, when you actually use this on doc or print out, these initials are at the bottom of every page. But because I'm in preview and it's a PDF, it moved them down. So everybody initials, whatnot. Down here is the occupancy. Usually if the house is empty, you'll select the one that says it's vacant. If they're living in it, you guys agree, like, hey, they're going to move out by closing, you select that one. If you're going to give them more time than that, you select what date they got to be out by or how many days after the house is closed on. Like right here, no later than 10 days after the close of escrow, whatever you and them agree upon and the buyer agrees with, because at the end of the day, you're assigning this contract to a buyer, so you got to make sure both parties know what the hell's going on when they're moving out. If it's rented, then you're going to select the one where it's already occupied. So if the property is intended to be rented, occupied right here, you click this one. So, and then you get scrolling down. Here's the access repairs made by buyers. You have access, during reasonable business hours to show properties to partners, lenders, blah, 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 blah. All that's right there. The seller's aware you're reselling this for a profit. It's right there in writing. Again, the additional terms is if there's something you need to add, like the property's really messy or something. You're like, yeah, seller agrees property will be cleared out. Seller agrees to whatever there's extra that you absolutely need to put in writing. You put here, and then whatnot, and then down here. Right here, seller grants buyer the exclusive right to market the property during the contract period, and any subsequent renewals. Marketing includes social media posts, listing on Zillow. Seller agrees to place keys inside lockbox provided by the buyer on the entry door of property. Seller agrees to use good faith and efforts to aid buyer for the sale of property to a third party. All that's in writing. So, I mean, it's obvious when they read this contract and sign it, like, they know you're looking to move this property. So, and then expiration usually is 24 to 48 hours. You put the expiration for, again, initials, which should be right here. And then you both sign, and that's pretty much it. I think there's initials at the bottom of the last page. Yep, there is. So that's how you do the purchase agreement for you and the seller. Now we're going to talk about the double closing contract, because I have been asked about this a lot. So double closing contract is where it is not assignable. You cannot assign this. It's to protect you. It is between you. You are the seller. So whatever property you have in a contract, you're acting as the seller, because this is a double closing. So at closing, you would be the owner of the property to the buyer, because you're closing with the seller using the buyer's money or transactional funding. So therefore, you're the seller. It's your info, your cash buyer's info. Same crap here as the last one. Down here, purchase price is what you guys agree to. You write it out. You put the amount and numbers there. Earnest money, same thing. You write it out, put the number here from them. And then they have deposit verified received by, you put your title company by 10 a.m. the first business day following the acceptance. So they have to have it deposited the same day or the next day by 10 a.m. Terms of the terms of the conditions of the sale. The escrow company for this transaction shall be, this is where you put the closing company or closing attorney. Here's where you put the closing date. Usually I don't make it 30 days. If it's a double closing, I see how quick they can close, 7, 10, 14 days, whatever, and whatnot. As you can see, buyer cannot advertise the property. This contract's not assignable, blah, blah, blah. There's your initials. Like, this contract's to protect you. That way, you don't have a wholesaler on acting as a buyer. So when you double close, it's to make sure they're a legit buyer. There's more initials. You can just read over. Here's where you put additional terms if you all agree on anything. Same, expiration of offer. Usually on this, I make it 24 hours on double closings and whatnot. But as you can see, it's a lot similar to the purchase agreement in a way, but in a way it's not. So it is up to you all. This is the biggest part of double closing is your earnest money, because it is non-refundable earnest money. The bigger amount, the better. The only way you give up earnest money back to the buyer is if the title work comes back not clean. That is the only way they get their money back, is if you cannot produce a clear title. If the title checks out, everything's good, they don't get it back if they decide they don't want to buy. So this is how you do the double closing contract. The actual owner seller's info that you have on your purchase agreement goes nowhere on here. Nothing other than the property address. Their info, their name, number, nothing. Their amount, how much you paid for it, is nowhere on here. Because when you go to closing with the cash buyer, they don't know how much you're making. That's the whole purpose of the double closing. They will not see how much you bought it for or any of that stuff. So I hope that helps on why use double closing contracts, how it's different from a purchase agreement and assignment agreement. So hope that helps. Now we're going to go over to buyer contract. So here's the buyer assignment agreement. It's a one-pager. Up here's your name, your assign, transfer, sell, contact areas, whether written, verbal, and the property located at. You put the property's address you have in a contract to, and whoever your cash buyer is goes here. You're the assigner and all this. So where it says assigner, that's you. Where it's assignee, that's them. Adding the assignment fee of, this is how much the actual fee is. So if you have a property under contract for $50,000 and you told the cash buyer you're assigning for $75,000, well, your assignment fee is $25,000. Yes, you put it right here how much you're making. The assignee's total purchase price is, that's the price. So that would be the $75,000. Now let me repeat that. The property's under contract for $50K. You sold it to the buyer for $75,000. You put $25,000 here. Total purchase price is $75,000. Now they know you're making $25K assignment fee. Will they get mad at that? Some buyers do. That's why I recommend double closing if you make above $10K, unless your buyer is cool with paying you whatever because it's a deal for him. If he was happy with the price prior to knowing what you was making, that's what I tell him. Like, well, you was fine with it till you found out how I was making. So I don't see why it's a big deal now. If it is a big deal, I'll go to the next buyer and then, to double close or just straight up ask the next buyer. You gonna be mad regardless of what I make, as long as there's meat on the bone for you and you're happy with the price. Does it matter what I make? I try to fill out my buyers prior so I know what kind of contract I'm using. Assignments are way easier than double closing for most. For me, it don't really matter because double closing, buyer's money pays seller. The closing costs are like $400 and some bucks. It comes out of the profit. I'm literally out no money with my title company. So for me, either one's fine. I do a lot of double closings because a lot of my cash buyers, I make above $10K, I'm afraid they would just get mad. So double closing is my route most of the time. But this is the assignment agreement. If there's a price reduction between you and the owner, so let's say that $50K, you assign it for $25K, and they're like, cool, I'll take it for $75,000. But then you go and renegotiate with the seller and you get it for $40K. So that's an extra $10K on the table. Well, your buyer's still paying you $75K. But you, instead of making $25,000, you're keeping the difference. So that means you're going to make that extra $10K on top of your assignment fee, while the total purchase price will still stay the same at $75K. I'll repeat that again. If you have the property on a contract at $50K, you're assigning it for $75,000. You go and renegotiate with the seller and you get it for $40K. Well, now you're making $35K. That extra $10K does not go to the buyer. It goes to you on your assignment fee. And this is what states that, this little clause right here. Closing, this is the closing right here saying that everybody will be paid on before escrow is open. Closing, so that's just saying that on this date, everything's going to be closed on. Like I said, usually it's 7, 10, 14 days. And then down here, read the rest of it. You can extend the contract up to 10 days if escrow is delayed, blah, blah, blah. The assignment fee of blank is paid to the from the proceeds of closing. That's your assignment fee again. Earnest money, that's when you put the biggest amount possible that you can get for non-refundable earnest money. Once again, earnest money only goes back to the buyer if you cannot produce a clear title. If the title comes back as clean and they decide they don't want it, they lose all this money. So minimum $1,500, $2,000, $25,000. The more you get, the more likely the buyer will go through with closing and not back out and screw you. I've done a $500 one way back in the beginning of my days. Buyer decided it was too much work for him. He just ate the $500, walked away. If I would have got more down on it, he wouldn't have walked away most likely. But for $500, he didn't care. And it was no big deal. I literally had it sold in 2 days later. So that's the assignment contract. That's just you assigning your rights to a cash buyer. You don't have to go to closing. Once they sign all this, you send it to the title company and then you get paid at closing. So this is the Birddog agreement. Well, let me click back. It was right beside the buyer assignment. Birddog, it's you finding leads for wholesalers or cash buyers. Usually it's wholesalers. So it just states that if you bring people leads, they're going to pay you a certain amount per lead that they actually get under contract and close. So if you bring me 5 properties, I get 3 of them under contract and close. I agree to pay you $500 per pop, so you make $1,500 on those 3 properties, or $1,000, could be $3,000, whatever you all agree to. This is kind of just more for your well-being of protecting you to make it feel like you're not going to be taken advantage of with a wholesaler. Now, granted, bird dogging, you want to make sure you trust the wholesaler you're working with. There's a lot of people who have bad experiences. They do all this work, bring hundreds of leads, never get paid for nothing. And it's because the wholesaler's, either sucks at his job or he just decides not to pay you, not ever tell you he closed on them. So this is a contract. I got it off of Bigger Pockets. I've been asked for it a million times. I just upload it to help you all out. You don't have to be 18 to be a bird dog. You can literally be 14, 15, 16, whatever, to get paid as a bird dog. So that's what that contract is. It's pretty self-explanatory on how to fill it out. Over here is the JV contract. That JV, joint venture. So that's where someone has a property under contract. They don't have a cash buyer. You have a cash buyer who wants it. So you guys agree to JV and split the profits. Now, across the market, usually it's 50-50 split. Now, you can do different. You can do 60-40, 70-30, whatever, or just a flat fee. But I've always done 50-50 is what everybody agrees to. So investor A is one of you, and investor B is the other one. It's pretty much self-explanatory of what you do. You guys can always edit the contract itself. This is just the general idea, as you can see. Investor A, 50% of net profits. Investor B, 50% of net profits. Why it says net, in case you all have to do double closing or something and pay closing costs, you guys will split the closing costs, and whatever the net is what you'll get. So, but that's what that is. That's a joint venture. Someone has a seller, someone has a buyer, and you're going to team up and get the deal closed. All right, next is a memorandum. So this, I have never had to file one. I don't believe I've ever filed one, actually. So it's pretty much you got to cloud the title. It's you protecting yourself if you think the seller is shady, like a cash buyer's reached out to them and now they're not trying to honor their contract. They're going to sell it to someone else. It cuts you out. You file this with the courts, and it pretty much is like a lien on the house. So when they go to sell, this is going to pop up. And then everybody has to reach out to you, and you guys have to settle on you releasing this. So if you're going to make 20 grand, that's how much you would say, well, I was going to make 20 grand. You decide to get, try to cut me out, blah, blah, blah. So pay me 20 grand, 10 grand, whatever you guys want to do, and you'll release it. So I've never had to use one. I usually just communicate pretty well with everybody and transparent on what happens and how it works. And this is what could happen if you try to get shady. Because there's a whole clause in the purchase agreement that says I have the right to file one of these. So once I explain it to them, usually everybody's like, oh yeah, I'll just go through with the sale. So that's what that is. As you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory on how to fill out. This is the last one. It's an addendum. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The sales agreement purchase date's up here between you and the seller. Here's the address, and this is just where you're going to type in whatever you guys are changing on the contract, purchase price, closing date, whatever you guys are changing. This is what you fill out. You put it here, you sign it, the seller signs it, you send it to the closing company so they have the updated purchase agreement addendum, and that's it. You don't have to be notarized. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a one-pager. So that's pretty much every contract you could possibly need for wholesaling. So I try to break them down. I give you all the contracts for free. I hope this video helps. I hope you all made it to the end to actually see how to do it, what they do, the process, an explanation. So appreciate you all watching if you made it through the whole video. And please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. So